guys, 681 Shadow. Welcome to our Boku no Hero Academia episode 34 review. I apologize for this being extremely late. I know this is going up Friday. I'm recording this the same day it's going up on Friday, and the reason why this is late and the reason why there's going to be some changes regarding uploads, I'll be having that in an update video coming out probably Sunday, possibly Saturday, depending on how I'm feeling about putting it up on the same day as our regularly scheduled Boku no Hero review. But the reason this one was late was because I was away for the last weekend, so I wasn't able to really record this. So, with that in mind, with that plus school, I didn't really have too much time on my hands. But now, I have some time, so I'm able to record. I'm gonna try. I'll go into more of that kind of stuff in my update video, so stay tuned for that. But this episode, um, in this episode, we have basically the entirety of the episode is about their final exams for the term, and it kind of starts off. Well, actually, before that, it even starts off with a scene um, of hero talk show where they have two guests on, Midnight and Mount Lady, and they're talking about how whether or not sexiness is like a necessity for heroes, and they're specifically targeting female heroes, which kind of makes sense. But there's a funny little gag on how they have Minato watching that show with um with Midnight and Mount Lady, which is kind of funny at the beginning. But then it cuts to the kids like reflecting on like how they need to get in gear for finals, and they show like their results on the finals, which on the midterms actually, which is pretty cool. What they got in the midterms, like they had Momo got first, then Ida second. I think it was Bakugo third, Midoriya fourth, Todoroki fifth, and they had surprisingly Mineta got ninth, and then the last two were Ashido and Kaminari. And once as soon as Aizawa left the room, they both yelled out, "I haven't studied at all," which is kind of funny. But but definitely they have all these people, and Todoroki being a savage, he was like, it's hard to fail if you just pay attention in class, which was completely savage of Todoroki, but it's kind of true. And um, this episode had a lot of Momo moments, and I loved it because all the girls in Boku no Hero are just great, and this episode has so many Momo moments, and it was just beautiful. You'll see pictures of it on the video. I haven't actually taken the screenshots for the review yet, but I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of those, and not just for the review, just to have because they're just so great. Um but before finals, they're eating lunch and they're thinking about what's gonna be the practical side of the exam because since they're in a hero school, they're gonna have a practical component and the written component. So so then Monoma from Class B overhears them, and he starts talking bad about them, seeing like, oh yeah, you met the hero killer, you get into a lot of trouble, don't you, Class A? And he's like saying all this stuff, and then Kendo comes in and just straight chops him in the neck, and he falls down. I love how they had that moment with Kendo, and also they I love how Midoriya called her the big sister of Class B, which is kind of funny. How because she's always looking after Monoma, and it's just some really funny things. But then it shows everyone studying for finals, like Deku studying alone, Ochako, Ida, they're all studying on their own, and then you have like the group of five people. It was Ashido, Kaminari, Jiro, um, then Ojiro, and then forgot the other guy's name, the guy with the tape, forgot his name, but they all went to Momo's residence because she's rich, she's a rich girl, and they went to her residence and she helped them study, and they apparently were able to do really good on the written portion of the exam. But then came the practical side, which they had been informed by Kendo, who had asked an upperclassman that it was going to be fighting robots, just like in the mock exams at the beginning to try to get into the school, which is pretty good for them considering, especially for people who have quirks that are hard that they haven't that they can't necessarily control or are very hard to control, like Ashido and Kaminari. But it turns out that they actually changed exam for the year for this certain year because of the rise of the League of Villains and especially like the stuff with the hero killer. So they wanted to focus on actual person-to-person combat. So the new exam is is pairs of students that are decided by the teachers will each fight against one teacher, which is really cool. And what they do at the beginning, they outline all the matchups in like some frames, but the best thing that but they outlined the two best matchups before they put all 10 of them in a row, which is really cool because they said the two matchups that they most highlighted were most highlighted in the beginning were Momo and Todoroki as a team facing off against Aizawa, which would be pretty cool. And the rationale for putting them together um is so because Aizawa will erase their quirks and then they have to basically improvise because they're very quirk reliant in terms of especially when you saw Momo in the Sports Fest and then Todoroki. Todoroki with his quirk, like if you can't do anything about his quirk, he can just do a lot to people. Like you saw even saw Stain having kind of a hard time with Todoroki because his attacks would keep coming. And then the big shocker that this actually got me so pumped because I know it's gonna be the last episode. 'Cause I know it's gonna be because it's gonna be the last fight. They say they teamed up Deku and Bakugo solely on their relationship, on how Bakugo absolutely despises him, and they're facing off against All Might, which is going to be amazing to see Deku, who can only use 5% of One for All, and Bakugo with his explosion versus All Might. And all teachers they're gonna have restraints on. They're gonna have these like weights um that they have these weights which basically are gonna be hindering them, which is a good plus, especially for those who are better off in close quarters combat, like All Might, Aizawa. Well, actually, Aizawa kind of does close quarters combat. He kind of just like he immobilizes and attacks, kind of. But like people who are better in close combat, like All Might, will definitely be hindered by that. So I want to see. It's gonna be really cool to see how with All Might weighted down, along with versus Deku with 5% of One for All, because since One for All is power stock, I would think it's strong. Deku's 5% would be stronger than All Might's 5%. So I want to see how exactly the power is going to stack up with those two. But we were able to get into the first fight between Kirishima and Sato against Cementos, and this is really cool because now because they're going to be showing the fights individually, they're going to be giving spotlight to certain characters that have not really gotten spotlight before, and they start to do this with Sato here because we haven't really seen him do anything ever except for in USJ when they were helping Ida try to escape the facility to get the teachers, but but they reveal his quirk here, which is called Sugar Rush, and for every 10 grams of sugar um for every 10 grams of sugar he takes in, then his strength gets multiplied. I believe like by three times or 5 times, something like that. But the more sugar he ingests for his quirk, the more stupid he gets. So I think he just settles for 10 grams of sugar. So him and Kirishima, they go against Cementos, which eventually turned out to be a war of attrition, which was not good on their end because Kirishima and Sato they just decided to try to break through all of Cementos' cement walls, and they kind of had a little JoJo's reference there. I haven't seen JoJo's, but it's definitely a pretty big meme of how they just shouted aura throughout all the time they were punching, which is pretty funny. But Cementos was able to easily win because all he really had to do with his quirk was just stand still because he just makes cement walls. And once Sato's quirk wore off and Kirishima couldn't hurt it anymore, then it was basically a wrap. So the episode ends off preparing for the next matchup, which is Suyu and Tokoyami facing off against Ectoplasm, which is the guy. This is that teacher you saw in the USJ when the teacher went to USJ. It's the one that made like different clones of himself, which was pretty cool. So that's gonna be an interesting fight with all the things Suyu can do, and then Tokoyami having Dark Shadow, maybe seeing like if Tokoyami trained in his internship, kind of like how All Might told him to, because in the sports festival, All Might told him that he should try to train his physical strength, and rather than just relying on his quirk, because there's gonna be times when you can't really use your quirk. Like I also really would have liked it if Tokoyami fought against Aizawa, just because of the fact that Aizawa could erase his quirk, and he wouldn't be able to use Dark Shadow. That would force him to use his physical strength. But the episode ends with that, and we see in the preview that we're even gonna get up to Momo and Todoroki versus Aizawa. So they're kind of gonna up the pacing with these next two episodes so that they can get to the Deku Bakugo versus All Might fight, because I feel like it's gonna be its own episode, or at least half an episode of them fighting, which is really cool, which is gonna be really great. I feel like they're gonna do the anime thing where they either play the opening or like one of the best soundtracks in the anime, which the soundtracks for this season actually got released a few days ago, and they are pretty good. I haven't listened to all of them yet, but they're pretty good. But that's gonna be it's gonna be it for this review. I once again apologize that it's late. Update video going up this weekend. Thank you all for watching. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode, and I will see you all next time.